Good day, viewers. Today we are going to start with paper 1 for October-November 2023, which is Information and Communication Technology. So let's get started. Are you ready? Are you good to go? If you are ready, I'm ready. Question number 1. A news agent has created a database with fields to store details of each newspaper and magazine it sells. Part of the database is shown. That is, this is part of the database. You have the product number here, name of publication, selling price, frequency, and publisher. So now out of this, the question now says you should tick the field name that will be the most appropriate primary key for the database. So out of these now, and this database, which of these do you think would be the most appropriate key for the database? Is it product number, name of publication, selling price, frequency, or publisher? You say what? Well, your guess is as good as mine. The correct answer is product number. So you take it and you are done with it. Then let's go to question 1B. 1B says, the news agent has added a field called barcode. That is, to this now, he has added barcode to it. The barcode number of the product. Explain why a presence check is not a suitable validation check for the barcode field. Can you tell us why the presence of barcode will not be suitable for this data? All right, I'm listening. I'm with you. Go on. Okay, that's the correct answer that you've just said, because not every publication has what? Has a database, a barcode. Not every publication has a barcode, because it is not every book that you have or every publication that you have has a barcode. Has a barcode, or you can decide to join it together. Not every publication has a barcode. And we go to question 1C. The news agent could use a relational database rather than a flat file database. Describe the advantages of using a relational database rather than a flat database. So what are those advantages that you think this news agent, what do you think it stands to gain if he uses a relational database over a flat database? So that's the question we are asked here. So one of the advantages is what? That's correct. Less memory used in the computer. Less memory used in the computer. That is, if you use a relational database, it will take you lesser memory than you using a flat file database. That's one. Who can tell me another one? 2 down is what? Yes. 2 is it uses data integrity, which means there is no discrepancies in the what? In your answer. It uses data integrity, which removes discrepancies in your what? In your answer. Number 3. Okay, let me type number 2. Then we can move to number 3. Uses data integrity You can leave your answer as this, uses data integrity, or you can explain what you mean, which means no discrepancies in the data. That is, when you make use of relational database, it uses data integrity and it makes sure your data has integrity. Number 3, yes, and body to tell us the third answer that we have here. We were told to mention how many. Are going to describe the advantages. So you can mention as much as you want, or you can just mention 4. Since your total answer is 4 here, we can just go with 4 in this video. Number 3, only have to input, you only have to input the data once. You only have to input the data once into a relational database. Therefore, it saves time. So when you input it once, it will save you the time of having to type it again. So that is what we mean by saving you time here. So the next time someone asks you, what is one advantage of using a relational database to to a flat file database, you tell the person that it saves what? It saves time. Then the last one, which is the number 4, because our answer there is 4, and I told you that we are going to what? We are going to put 4 answers here. So the 4th one that we are going to have is what? Do you want to help us out? All right, don't worry. I'm here for you. Reports can be created. Reports can be created using many tables. You can create reports using many tables. So all these are what? Are some of the advantages of using a what? A relational data base over what? Over a flat file database. We have more. Like you say, data is not unnecessarily duplicated. It is one of the advantages of what? Of using a relational database also. Another one is queries can be created using many tables, or you say complex queries can be created. All those are also other examples or other advantages of what? Of using a relational database over what? Over a flat file database. So let's go to D then. It says from the data shown in the part of the database, that is the database we saw up here. Can you still remember? Okay, this database. So the question now says, from the data shown in the part of the database, identify the most appropriate data type for the what? 1, selling price. So if you are looking for selling price, you go back to the table and you look at it. Which one do you think? All right, so the answer is what? Is numeric. that is the selling price, which is the currency. So you have numeric, that is those things are written in number. That's why I said it is numeric. We all know numeric, right? Which means numbers. Numeric. Numeric, which also stands for what? Stands for currency. So that's the answer to selling price. Then the name of publication. The name of publication is what? Name of publication is text, string, or alphanumeric. Everything represents the same thing. You can use them interchangeably, or you said they are synonymous. Text, or you use string, or you use alphanumeric. Alphanumeric. All these things are, all these words, they are the same words. So let's go on. It now says states. This is question number 2. It says state the most appropriate word or phrase to complete each sentence. State the most appropriate word or phrase to complete each sentence. A. The type of data output from a sensor is what? Yes. That's very simple. Yes, good of you. The type of what? The type of data output from a sensor is known as analog. Okay, analog is what you get from a sensor. So you have analog. Analog. That's the answer to the question. Then B, it says the type of data read by a what? A microprocessor, excuse me, is the type of data read by a microprocessor is what? What do we call the type of data read by a microprocessor? It is referred to as digital. What do I call it? Digital. Digital. C says the item of hardware that converts data from a sensor so a microprocessor can read it is dash. Which hardware converts data from a sensor so a microprocessor can read it? What do we call that? It is called analog to digital converter, or you call it ADC. Analog to digital converter. Digital converter. Or you simply call it what? ADC. That's another meaning or another way to call analog to digital converter. Then 2D. 2D says the type of sensor that is used in a refrigerator. We all know a refrigerator, right? That's where we keep our things to cool or to get iced or to freeze it. So what is now the type of sensor that is used in it? We call it temperature. We call it what? Temperature. That's what we call it. Or you can also call it sensor. But in this case, since they are asking for the type of sensor, it won't be appropriate again to use the word sensor. So let's just put temperature there. I'll move on to the next question. Question number 3. A group of students are carrying out a study of the quality of river water for a project. They can either use a tablet computer or a smartphone to monitor and record their findings. We all know what a tablet computer is, and we all know a smartphone. Most of you probably have smartphone, and tablet is also that small for you to hold in your palms. All right, so the question says, discuss the advantages and disadvantages of using a tablet computer rather than a smartphone for this project. That is, we want to look at it. If we use a tablet instead of a smartphone, what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages? So we have 6 answers. So let's pair, we have 6 marks rather. Let's pair our answer into 3 so that we have 3 advantages and 3 disadvantages. So the first advantage is 1, it is easier. It is what? Easier to connect devices onto a tablet. It is easier to connect devices onto a tablet. That is, when you compare connecting devices to tablets and smartphones, you all agree with me that it is easier for an individual to do what? To connect devices to a tablet than a smartphone. That's why we have that answer. That is, 1, it's easier to connect onto a tablet. When you connect devices to it, it is very, very easy. 2, larger screen. What do I call it? Larger screen to see the findings. We all quite understand that a tablet is a little bit bigger than a smartphone. So you'll be able to see the answers clearly on your tablet compared to your smartphones. They are a little bit smaller. So 3, the third advantage is that it has better software. Better what? Software. Suited or suitable. Suitable to the task. That is, you have better data or better software that you can use on your tablet compared to your what? Your smartphones. We have other advantages. I'm not going there. So we have 3 advantages now. Then we are going to have 3 disadvantages too. So what are the disadvantages? 1 is smartphones are more portable and can be carried in a pocket. Smartphones are what? Smartphones are more portable and can be what? Can be carried in a pocket. That tells us that they are much more handy. When I say handy, that is, you can easily take them around compared to, let's leave a gap between the advantages and the disadvantages. And I just reduce this a little bit so that it contains this screen. All right. Smartphones are more what? Are more portable and can be carried in a pocket. That's one of the disadvantages of what? Of using a tablet over a smartphone. 2, if cameras are what? Are to be used. If cameras are to be used, then it is easier to do what? it is easier to use a camera with a smartphone. To use a camera with a smartphone. That is when you compare even the quality of the camera of your smartphone to that of your tablet, you agree with me that your smartphone has a better camera than your what? Than your tablet. That's why it is easier for you to operate a what? A smartphone than a tablet. One of it is the pictures will be clearer and you are going to have conveniency at operating it. The last but not the least, which is the third one, is that students are more likely to have smartphones with them. See, as students, it is easier or it is affordable to buy a what? To buy a smartphone than what? Than a tablet, because tablets are usually a bit expensive than what? Than smartphones. Students are more likely, they're more likely to have smartphones with them. Smartphones with them. If you check, if you ask yourself now, don't you have a smartphone? You do. But how many of us can say we have a tablet? Even I myself, I don't have a tablet. I only have, well, you don't want to know the type of phone I'm using, but I have a smartphone. Yeah. All right. So, as students, it's easier to get a smartphone than having a what? A tablet. So, let's go to question B. Identify two devices that could be used by the students to enter data. Identify what? Two devices that could be used by the students to enter data. So before I go away from here, just like I've made the explanation, I was only trying to put the answers here in a short form so that you get it. When you write your own points, it is better you discuss them, just like I was discussing them with my mouth and I wasn't writing them down. These are just the basic points. Then you can write a few points about them. That's why you have a lengthy line there. Do you understand? All right. So let's go to 3B. It says identify two devices that could be used by the students to enter data. So when you want to enter data, what are the devices that you are going to require? One is the keyboard. You all know without the keyboard, you cannot type, right? And the keyboard is an input device, right? So we have keyboard. What other device do we need to input data? Yes, that's correct. You also need a camera, because as you start to record it, it starts staying on your phone. That's why a camera is also an input device. Other devices that you can use to enter or to input your data are the touch screen. That is, you can start touching your screen and start typing it there instead of using the keyboard. We all know that, right? Good. So another one is you can record it on your phone using a what? A microphone. You put it down instead of writing or using the keyboard or the camera. You can also use the sensor to write your answer. So let's go to question number 4. Question number 4 says, a head teacher is considering setting up a card system for students to buy food in the school canteen. You all know a school canteen, right? All right. So the head teacher is considering what? Setting up a card system. Their teacher is trying to decide whether to install a system that uses magnetic stripe card readers or one that uses chip and pin card readers. Compare the use of magnetic stripe card readers with the use of chip and pin card readers. Your answer must include similarities and differences. When we say similarities, that is what is common to both of them, and the differences are what? The what is not common. So it's just word and opposites, or synonym and antonyms. So the differences and the similarities. So which one should we start with? Okay, let's start with their similarities first. See, when we start with their similarities, then we'll be able to pinpoint what is not similar or what is not common. And those will be their what? Their differences. One, both readers, that is this magnetic stripe card reader and the pin card reader. So both readers are in direct contact with the card. So that is one of the similarities. They both have what? Direct contact with the card. That's one. Okay. Let's do something. Let's put similarities on top so that we know which one we are doing actually. So that when we get to differences, we won't what? We won't mix them up. So I say similarities is what we have first. Similarities. I will say similarity, anyone that you use. So I put it up here. Similarity. Both readers are in direct contact with the card. Two, both readers can cause what? Can cause wear and tear. You all know what we call wear and tear. You've done it in science, or friction, all right? They can cause wear and tear on the cards. They can cause wear and tear on the card. That is another similarity that goes with the two, causing wear and tear to the cards. Then the third one, I've just explained the meaning of wear and tears so that when you are doing your own explanation, because whenever you are told to write, to compare something, to give them differences, you should be able to explain your answer, not just list them. That's why I'm explaining them. Both are what? Both are input devices. That is anything that you use to enter record into another file or another system. They are what we call input device. So both chips or both cards, they are what? They are under input devices because you use them to input what? To input data. Do we all understand it? We get the similarity. All right, let's go to the differences now. Let's go to the what? To the differences. Let me just put it there. Differences or difference. Now we were able to identify the similarity. Let's now list three other difference that we can see there. One is chip and pin readers. The users need to know the pin. That is, when you are using chip and pin, the users, they need to what? Chip and pin readers requires the users or their users, the user to know the pin. That is, if you want to use a chip and pin, it is compulsory of the words of the user to know the pin. If you don't know the pin, you cannot log in or you cannot access. Just like your ATM card. If you want to use your ATM card and you don't know your pin, will you be able to access your money? Good. The answer is no. So when you are using chip and pin as a user, you are required to what? To know the pin. Two is what? It is more secure as a pin is needed. It is what? It is more secure as a pin is needed. Just like you use your password or security or your pin to lock your phone, so also is the security. So when you use pin, it is more secure as a pin is needed. That's the second difference. Now, the third one is what? Chip and pin reader prompts the user to enter a pin. Just like I said in the number one difference that I gave, that is, you need a pin. So chip and pin, reader prompts the words, the user to enter a pin. And as soon as you enter your pin, what do? You gain access to such area or such documents or such machine. But if you don't have your words, your pin, you will be what? You will be logged out. Just like if you are trying to take your money from your ATM and you keep typing the wrong pin, will your money come out? The answer is no. Your money will not come out. These are the differences for the chip and pin. Then, for the magnetic stripe, we also have its differences also. So we are going to list three under it. One, in the magnetic stripe, in the what? In the magnetic stripe, reader, that is magnetic stripe reader, the card, the card can be used. The card can be used by anyone as no pin is needed. Can you see the difference between chip and pin readers and the magnetic stripe reader? Earlier I told you that for the chip and pin readers, you need what? You need a pin or a password for you to access your data. But under the magnetic stripe, there is no need for what? There is no need for pin. So anybody can take any and make use of it. That's it. That means when you leave your phone on what? Unlocked, Anybody can take it and have access to it. Two, the what? The transaction is faster using a magnetic stripe reader. The transaction is what? Is fast or faster than the chip and pen reader. The transaction is faster using a magnetic stripe reader. Okay, that means there is no hustle of pain. There is no need for you to start looking for how do I press my pen? How do I do this? So all you need to do is to just what? Is to just put the card and make your transaction. So that makes it what? It makes it faster. Last but not the least is that what? Less data entry errors. Less what? Less data entry errors using magnetic stripe reader. As what? As no manual input. That is, when you use your what? When you use the magnetic stripe reader, it gives less data error because you know you are not going to enter anything. There is no PIN, there is no password. So all you just need to do is to put your card there, you get your transaction done. Do we understand? So to gain full mark here also, like I've been explaining it, it is better you also make the explanation and just not list points. You see, the marker will not be able to see all this my talkings. So it's better you what? You make a detailed explanation of what I've just put down there. So let's go to question number 5. Question number 5 says, a bridge and a router are examples of what? Networking devices. You all know a router, right? But do you know a bridge? You do. Very good. So, a bridge and a router are example of networking devices. A. Explain the differences between a bridge and a router. So, when you want to explain difference between a bridge and a router, you can join them together, saying a bridge dash 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 while a router does this. Or you can list the differences, then you list the two or one for bridge, you list another one for router. So any of the method will be acceptable. So now what are the differences between a bridge and a router? One is that a bridge, a what? A bridge connects, a bridge connects two LANs. You know the meaning of LAN, right? Yes, that's the meaning of LAN. It connects two LANs. It connects what? Two LANs that are using the same protocol, or you say that uses the same protocol, the same thing. When LANs, when they use, when two LANs uses the same protocol, then a bridge connects them together. That's one. Do you understand that? Okay. So the second one is that a bridge, a what? A bridge. Just like the bridge you have in your streets that you can use to cross over a lane or an highway to the other side. A bridge also what? You use it to join. It creates, a bridge creates a single line. It creates a single line to do what? From separate, from what? Separate parts. That is, it goes ahead and creates a single line from separate parts. That's why we call it a bridge. It takes its different parts together and make them what? And make them one. But for a router, this is for a bridge. That's why I said the other time that you can join the two together or you can write it one after the other. A router on its own, what does it does? A router now allows data. It allows what? Data packets to be sent to LAN. To be sent to LAN or WLAN, or WAN rather. To be sent to LAN or WAN. That's it. That's the work of a what? A router. It helps you to send data packets to LAN and WAN. That's one. Then what other thing does a router? What other thing does it does? It connects a LAN to a WAN. A router connect what? A router connects a LAN to what? To a WAN. That's another important or difference between bridge and what? And router. Are we following me? All right. If you do, you can subscribe to this page, follow us, or share it to others so that they can also benefit from this class. So let's go on. 5B. IP addresses are used in computer network. Explain what is meant by an IP address. When you say IP address, what is an IP address? IP address is a unique identifier. When we say unique identifier, it lets us know an individual, from where is he talking from where is the person from. It simply stands for Internet Protocol. That's the meaning of that IP, Internet Protocol. And yours differs from mine because we are not using the same internet. Even your phone, it has an IP address apart from the internet you use to browse. So this is the meaning of what? IP address. So you can simply put it as, tell them the meaning of IP address first, which is what? I call it what earlier? Internet Protocol. That is the meaning of IP. Internet Protocol. Protocol address. That's the meaning of IP what? IP address. And I also told you that it is a unique identifier. What do we mean by unique identifier? I've explained it. It tells us apart. It tells where you are from and where I am from. That's the meaning of unique identifier. We had over the radio some years back in Africa, particularly in Nigeria, their government there, they banned the use of Twitter. So how is this possible is every IP address that is browsing from the country was not able to access Twitter. So now, but if people use VPN, it automatically changes their IP address, which is their internet protocol. And funny enough, you can access Twitter then when it was banned. So that means this IP address is very unique to a particular area or individual. Yours is different from mine. And it's also what determines the electronic location of the device. That was what I just said. Like if you are in Nigeria, it automatically detects that you are in Nigeria. So you are unable to what? You are unable to access Twitter then. But since they changed their IP address using a what? Using a VPN, it automatically takes them away from that country and puts them at another place where Twitter was not banned or has not been banned. So that's simply the logic behind the using of VPN. So you can try using a VPN and you see that your current location will change with a friend that is listening or that is communicating with you. If you know how to look at, I just go and check your phone memory and look at, maybe you try to log in your Gmail, it will tell you that you are trying to log in from another country while you are still in your country. That means your IP address has changed. So your electronic location also will have changed automatically. It will recognize that you are from another part of the country or world entirely. Do we get that? All right, so let's go to 5C. 5C says, explain the purpose of a what? The purpose of a routing table. We've talked about router earlier. So now, what is the purpose of a routing table is, one, what can we use a routing table to do? It can be used what? Used to determine what? Used to determine where data packets. It can be used to determine where data packets will be directed. That is, where are you sending data packets? It is a routing table that will determine that. So if you are using a routing table, it will easily tells you, oh, this your data is going this way and not that way. That is one. Another purpose of using a what? A routing table is it's used to store route information. To do what? Stores route information. Or you can call it route, anyone. But it's your route, not your route. So it stores route what? Information. That's two. Then three, it's also what? It also stores your IP address. Stores IP address or addresses, whichever one you want to do. Like this, we are using more than one IP address, just like I asked you to test a VPN and try and change your location, it will record all your what? All your IP addresses. All right, so let's go to question number 6. Question number 6 says, a cricket club secretary saves a list of players as a PDF file. We all know what PDF file is, right? Just like what I'm working on now, right? So a cricket club secretary saves a list of players as a PDF file. A. Describe 2 disadvantages of saving the list of players as a PDF file. Can you tell me one of the disadvantages? Good. It is more difficult to edit. You see, when you have PDF and a document file is easier to edit, but PDF what? They are more difficult to edit. That's why you see me typing one by one like this. I'm placing it inside on the lines again. But if I'm working with a Word document, all I need to do what? Is to type. But because I want to edit this and show you the answers, and I'm using a PDF file, it is what? It is difficult for me to what? To edit the file. So that is the number 1 difficulty or disadvantage of using a what? Of storing the player's name inside a PDF file. Can you tell me another difficulty that we have there? Okay. 2 is that you need a PDF editor file. What? PDF editor file. PDF editor software are required before you can what? Before you can edit them. For you to edit any file that you have inside PDF editor software or PDF file rather, you need a PDF editor software. So those are the 2 what? Disadvantages of what? Of saving the list of players as a PDF. You still have more, like PDF sometimes render incorrectly. That is, if you try to access a PDF file, sometimes it might just bring you some jargons. If you try to convert it, if you don't have a good converter, it will just convert nonsense for you. So if you are sure that you have what you require, that is when you can store your files in what? In PDF. Otherwise, store them in documents, which is DOC. All right, let's go on. The cricket club has a junior team for 6 to 8-year-old players. The secretary has produced an e-publication to attract new members to the junior team. B. State 2 fixtures of an e-publication that could not appear on a paper poster. You have to list what? 2 fixtures of an e-publication that could not appear on a paper poster. 1. Yes, what are those things that will not appear on a paper poster compared to e-publication? Yes, thank you. Audio. The audio will not appear on paper because you cannot see paper talking. But when you have e-publication, you can have the audio there. Yes, another one is what? What's the other one that we have? You can have video, interactivity. Interactivity, that is, you will not be able to interact. Or can a paper be interacting? When you have a paper and what you want to do there, can it interact with itself? The answer is no. But unlike an e-publication, you can still have interaction. So you have small, you have accessibility, text to speech, ability to change text flow left to right and right to left. All this cannot be done in what? On a paper poster as against e-publication. All right. So let's go to question 6C. It says, describe the fixtures that could be used to make the e-publication attractive to a younger audience. So when you have a younger audience and you want to make this e-publication attractive to them, what do? So the first thing to do is you put bright colors. You know, kids, they like very bright color. So when you are producing your work, you put what? You put bright colors. That is one. Put bright colors so that they become automatically drawn. When I say drawn, they become attracted to whatever you are publicating. Number two is make use of some animate objects. Yes, you put them like you are doing cartoon. You know, a lot of kids, they watch cartoons. That is two. Are we following? Are we together? All right. Another thing that you can do to attract a younger audience is to what? To put sounds and sounds effects. To put what? Sounds and what? Sounds effect. This will easily catch the attention of the what? Of the young ones. When you put sound effects, maybe it is a particular song or a particular jingle to catch their attention. Then, lastly is that you can put videos. You can put what? Videos. Just to also make sure that they what? They become enticed to whatever you are producing or you've publicized or you've want to put in your publication. All right. So these are the features that should appear in your application. You can also put what? Game and activity can be included. So doing this, we attract the what? The young audience to whatever what you are doing or whatever publication you put out. And lastly, let me add one more. Lastly is that large text font. Large what? Text font. We all know the meaning of text fonts, right? Good. Large text fonts so that it is easier to read. Large text font should be used so that it is easier to read. Just like I'm making this, my text also clear for you to read. So also, should we make the text of an e-publication so that the younger audience will be able to watch, they'll be able to see whatever has been written in your publication. Do we get that? All right. Let's go to the next question, which is question number what? If you are following me. Yes, question number 7. We are going to question number 7. Question 7 says, an employee in a company has used QWERTY 123 as his login password for some time. A. Give 3 reasons why this is not advisable. That is, this password that he has used, can you give us 3 reasons why this password is not advisable? One is the password is not strong. That's one. Password is not what? Is not strong. Anybody can easily guess it and have access to the person's file. Password is not strong. That's why whenever you are creating any file or you want to have any password attached to any of your documents or even your phone, there are some passwords that are not advisable. So the first one is what? Password is not strong. 2, the letters and numbers are in sequence on the keyboard. That is, if you look at the way your keyboard is arranged, it is sequence. You can just press it QWERTY, then you put the 1, 2, 3. So the letters and numbers are in sequence on the what? On the keyboard. So you see, anybody can just get to the keyboard, type that, and voila, they are in. They get the password. So it is not a preferable what? Password. It is not advisable to be used. The last but not the least, which is number 3, is that what? It should be changed regularly to secure its login. That if you decide to continue with that, it should be what? It should be changed. It should be changed regularly. To do what? To secure his login. So when it changes it regularly, we'll be able to what? To at least secure his login. So these are 3 reasons why it is not advisable to do what? To use that kind of password. So we are what? We are done with that question, which is question number 7A. All right, let's proceed. The next question says, complete the sentences using the most appropriate data protection method from the list. Your answers must be different in each case. So it says a method which scrambles the data so that it cannot be understood is what? So out of this now, which of these scrambles the data so that it cannot be understood? The correct answer is what? Encryption. So you just choose encryption here. That's our correct answer. Encryption. So it scrambles your what? Your data so that it cannot be what? It cannot be understood. That's encryption. Then a fingerprint is an example of what? Out of this here, which one is an example of a fingerprint? Yes, correct. It's biometrics. Is what? Biometrics. You also have it on your phones. That is, they ask you to use a code or a biometric. So when you say you want to use biometric, it will require for your what? For your finger. So that's a fingerprint. That's what we call what? Biometrics. 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 That's what we mean by biometrics. Then number 3. What is number 3? A method of guaranteeing a website is authentic is what? Out of this, what is a method of guaranteeing that a website is authentic? Look at it clearly. Good. The answer is what? A digital certificate. So you put it there. A digital certificate. A digital certificate. All right. That's our answer. Then Roman numeral 4 there. A hardware device that filters the information coming through the internet connection into a LAN is what? All right, look at it. What's the answer? Good. A firewall. You know, a firewall will protect your computer. It will filter what is coming inside your computer. So that's the answer. A firewall. A firewall is the correct answer. Do we get that? All right. Let's proceed. 7C now. An employee in the company uses his company password for other accounts. Explain why this is not a good idea. Do you know why it is not a good idea for an employee to use his own password for other company passwords? Yes? I'm listening. Okay, so 1. If someone finds a password for one of the system or accounts, other system or accounts are what? Are compromised. If someone finds the password, for one of the system or for one of the accounts, then the others are what? Others are compromised because they uses the same password. Then other accounts or systems still maintain the same other system or accounts are what? Are compromised. And when it is compromised, that means the person can easily get information that he or she is not privy to. This is the information you are not ordinarily allowed to access, can be accessed by such individual since he or she has gotten the password of the what? Of the organization. Okay, so the second one is what? If someone finds the password for one of the system accounts, then he has gained the company password. So can put 1 and explain it, and you get the answer. Since the answer said you should explain why it is not a good idea, so let's leave it at this. Let's just leave it at 1 and we move on. But another one that you can put there is if someone finds the password for one of the system, then automatically the person has gained the company's what? The company's password. So that is the implication. So whenever you are storing anything, always ensure that you don't consistently stay on one. All right, let's go on. We are on to what now? Question number 8. Microprocessor control devices are used in the home. Describe with examples how using these devices can affect the health and fitness of their users. Microprocessor control devices are used in the home. You are now to describe with examples how using these devices can affect the health and fitness of their users. So how does using these devices, how does this affect the health and fitness of the users? One is that this question, it has a cause and effect. That's what it means. It says how, and how means cause. Then the effect is their health and fitness. So now we are going to explain it looking at both angles. That is the how, which is the cause, and the effects. So number one is that reduces what? Reduces the amount. It reduces the amount reduces the amount of time it takes to complete a task. It reduces the amount of time it takes to complete what? To complete a task. This is the what? The cause. Now let's have the effects. It reduces the amount of time it takes to complete a task. Therefore, let's just put it in front of it. Therefore, gives the user gives the user more layer time, that is fun time, layer time to do other things. That is, when you are able to finish your work in time, then you have time to do what? To do other things. It's as simple as that. You have time to do what? To do other things. Very simple. As simple as that. Two, two, the user, you see, when you are using this microprocessor, the user does not need to be present when the device is working. The user does not what? The user does not need to be present to be present when the device is working. And what implication does it have? Therefore, gives the users, therefore, gives what? Gives the user. More or less exercise. Depends on the angle you are looking at it. So when you are not there, you can decide to be doing something else. That means it gives you more exercise. But when you are not there and you are not doing anything else, it gives you what? Less exercise. It's as simple as that. Do we all understand? Do we understand? Good. All right. Let's look at one other effect, or how many do they ask us to state here? Okay, I'm trying to. All right. So let's proceed. How many marks do we have there? 6. So it's safe for us to put 3, and we are going to get our full mark. Okay. So 3, we can have when the device does all the work, it makes the user lazy. When the what? When the device does all the work, it makes the user lazy. That is, the device has done all the work you are to do. Then what are you doing? You are not doing anything. So you can decide to lazy away. Even you can decide to sleep when you know that what you are to do is already been done for you. So when the device does all the work, when the device does all the work, it makes the user lazy. All right. You still have other effects that you can put there, but I'm going to stop on this third one and just tell you one or more. Another one is using computers or gaming machine device for long periods can cause a what? It can cause a back issue. That is when you just sit down and you continue to press your gaming device or whatever you are pressing, your back might be aching if you are not well seated, if you did not sit down, or gazing at the computer can affect the eyesight of the what? Of the user. So let's proceed to the next question, which is question number what? Question number 9. Right? Let's proceed to question number 9. You have Rowena's laptop computer contains a small capacity solid state drive, that is SSD, of 32 gigabytes, and a large capacity hard disk drive, HDD, of 1024 gigabytes. Okay. A. States giving a reason for your choice, a use for the SSD and a use for the HDD in the laptop computer. Your answer must be different in each case. So to answer this, you have to do what? State a reason for your choice. One is to store the operating system or game. We use SSD. Why? To store the app, software, data, file, movies. We use the what? We use the HDD. Do you understand? Do you understand? I said for SSD, You use it to what? To store what? The operating system. Operating system or games. Games. And we are told to give a reason. So our reason is when you use SSD, your game or system will load faster. So you have faster loading of the operating system or game. That's the reason. We're told to give a reason for our answer, and that's our reason. So when we store with SSD, it loads faster compared to HDD. Do you understand? So the next time you want to enjoy your gaming, instead of storing on an HDD, you should store your files on what? On SSD. Do you understand? Now for HDD, we said it is used to store what? It is used to store to store the apps, software, data, files, movies. To store the apps, or you can store your software, you can store your data, your files, or your movies, etc. All these can be stored making use of what? Your HDD. Now, we are asked, what are the reason or what's your reason for using HDD? It can store more files. It can do what? It can store more files. It can store more files. That's our reason. All right, so we are done with question 9A. We can proceed to question 9B. The laptop computer also contains internal memory. Give 2 examples of internal memory. So what are the examples of internal memories that you know? 1, you have RAM. We all know RAM, right? Random access memory. So you also have what? You also have ROM, which is ROM, read-only memory. Okay, so those are 2 examples of what? Of internal memory. Of what? Internal memory. Then we move to the last question for today, which is question what? Question number 10. All right, let's proceed. This question says, A teacher has set up a database for a class library. You know a library, all right? The data about the books in the class library will be entered by the teacher. A. The data can be verified by double data entry or visual verification. The question now says, compare double data entry with visual verification. Your answer must include similarities and what? And differences. Just like we discussed earlier, where we discussed similarities and difference. I told you, let us have similarity on top, similarity, so that we'll be able to differentiate which one is similarity, which one is difference. Similarity. So, what are the similarity between double data entry and visual verification? One, these are the similarities I'm about to start listing. One, both are used. What do I said? Both. That is, the both of them are used to check that data has been entered correctly. Both are used to check that data has been entered correctly. That is the number one similarity between data entry, double data entry, and what? And visual verification. Number two, both ensure that the data has been transferred correctly. When you make use of the two, they ensure that your what? Your data has been transferred correctly. That is, there is no error whatsoever in your data as what? As you transfer it. That's another what? Another similarity between double data entry and what? And visual verification. I said both ensure that the data has been transferred correctly. So that there is no room for error. There is no mistake in the data that is what is transferred. Another one that you can put there, though I'm going to stop on this two. Another one that you can put there is both are used to check the data against the original data. That is, you want to double check, you want to verify either what you have is correct with the original data, you can use it to what? To double check. Now let's go to the differences. The differences now. What are the differences between double data entry and visual verification? Difference or differences. In visual verification, the user compares the data, while in double data entry, the computer compares the data. That's the difference. We are going to join these two together. We are not going to list them one after the other. So I will maximize my space and join the two together. But you can still type them or write your answers differently as you like, just like I told you, but I've used that example up So I want to change the type of answer I give you here. That's why I'm joining the two together, like I'm comparing them directly. In visual verification, in visual verification, the user compares the data while the computer compares the data in double data entry. In double data entry. Do you get it? So that means in visual verification, it is the user himself or herself that will compare the data, while the computer will compare the data in double data entry. Let's have one more example, and we are good to proceed to the next question. All right. So another difference is that data is compared with the original data source. That is in visual verification. The data is what? Data is compared in visual verification. Data is compared with the original data source. With the original data source. While in double data entry, data is compared with the previously entered data. Data is compared with the previously entered data. Do you get it? Since it is the computer that we vet that of double data entry, so it vets against the previously entered documents or data. While in visual verification, you check it. Since the user is going to check it, you are going to check it against the what? The original data. Do you get that? Do we understand that? All right. That is that for 10A. For question 10A now. Now we are going to question 10B. For question 10B, it says that when data is entered into a data field, it is validated. An example of the data that could be entered is 1 for 2023. That is the first day in the month of April 2023. Now you are asked to state two validation checks that could be used on this data. You have to do what? State two validation checks that could be used on this data. The first validation check that could be used is what? Is format. You can check the format. Either you want the month to come first or you want the day to come first. You can change the format. Another one is the length. the what? The length. You can decide to have, oh, let me remove this 01 and just put 1. Let me remove 04 and just put 4. So you have 1, 4. Even 2023, you can decide to put 23, 1, 4, 23 instead of 1, 4, 2023. So that's the format. Then you can decide to change the length also. Do we get it? You can decide to change the length of the words, of the data that is being entered. Do we understand? So we are told to list 2, and this is 2 already. I'll just give you 2 more, but I will not type it here. And those 2 are range. You can decide to check the range, while you can also decide to check the type or character of what you are entering. All right. So question number 11 says, many automatic machines, ATM, allow customers to print out mini statements of their bank account. Describe the inputs and processing involved in printing out a mini statement. So assume you are at an ATM post, and as a customer, you want to make use of the what? Of the ATM to generate your what? Your mini statement. So what are the process that you need to follow? That's the exact question that we are asked now. That is the procedure that you are going to follow while printing out your what? Your mini statement. Okay, so the number 1 is what? You are going to insert your card, right? We all know that, right? Because without your card, you can't do anything. So the first procedure is what? Insert your card. Insert card. That's the first procedure that you are going to go through. Then after inserting your card, what happens? The system reads your what? The system reads the details on the card. And that is when you put your ATM, after loading it, it starts reading the details. The system what? Reads the details of your card. So after the system reading the details of your card, what happens next? You will be told to select what? To select a language. Isn't that right? It will ask you, which language do you want? You are going to do what? Select a language. So I'll just put it as select a language. So after that, what next? Yes, thank you. It is going to ask you to input your what? To input your PIN. Because without your PIN, you can't have access to your ATM. So you do what? You enter your PIN. You enter PIN. After entering your PIN, what happens? You select on what? Select print, which is the mini statement option. That is, you want the ATM to print out your what? Your mini statement. So you press on what? Print mini statement. After you what? After you've entered your PIN, select Select what? Print. So you want to print what now? You want to print your mini statements. You want to print your mini statement. So after you've selected the select print of what? The mini statement option. Then what do? You select the account. Either it is savings account or current account or what have you. So you select the what? You select select the account. Then the last thing you do is what? You select confirm. You select what? After you select the account, you select confirm. Then these are the what? These are the inputs. These are the what? Inputs. And what does the question says? It says we should describe the inputs and processing involved in printing out a statement. That means we have only successfully discussed the what? The inputs after you press on confirm. We've been able to what? To answer what we are to do during the input. Then we will look at what are we to do, or what are the process involved in what? In processing. You know, there are different procedures, or there are different things that happen at those different stages. So the processing now, the processing stage, it involves, it checks the cards. If it is correct, let's check the card validity. Let's put it like that. Checks card validity. Checks card validity. Then it what? It checks the account number is correct or not. So we said we put comma, check the account number, or we say confirm the account number. Anyone checks the account number. These are part of the what? Of the processes. After checking the account number, it checks the PIN. It checks the PIN. Then after checking the PIN, what other process do we have involved in processing? Yes. Can anyone help us out? Very good. Very good. It checks the correct account selected. Those are still under processing. It checks the what? Checks the account selected. Checks the correct account selected. Check the correct account selected. Check the correct account selected. Then what else? The bank computer creates the statement. The bank computer creates the statement. The bank computer creates the statement, and finally, details of the amount in the account are sent to the ATM. The what? The details of the amount in the account is forwarded. That is, when the bank computer creates the statement, it is transferred to the ATM. Then details are sent to the printer, and then you'll be able to print. Those are the processes. Okay, do we all understand? All right. So details are sent to the ATM, and finally, details are sent to the printer. Finally, details are sent to the printer. Do you understand that? All right. Let's draw the curtain here, and we meet in another class. You do well to like, share, and put your comments under the comment section.